how do we use this content? I think, and I'll give an example for myself and then open up the table. What I've done over the years, over many different partners and many different influencers over the years, is we took their content, we gave direction to make it inside of some format, right? You hopefully with the most universally repurposed format. I can't tell you how many times we got stuff from people where there was text at the very top and text at the very bottom. Right. And it's like, well, now we can't do anything, right? Like we can't put that into a square. We can't put that into a wide, right? We're really limited in our ability. But when I'm talking about how to really use this content, part of what I want to get to is our actionability on a business end, as well as our repurposing. Mm-hmm. And so I'll lay the table with this. When I was using this content, my focus on getting the influencer stuff was that getting market share and saturation of voice on any platform by organic efforts would alone pay for 20, 30, 50, 100% of the acquisition of that talent, right? If it cost me back in the day, $2,500 to get, maybe Kim from the Real Housewives of Atlanta to post 4 times for us, which was probably, I shouldn't say all those numbers because it's a little too accurate to whatever. That was 2018 contract. I'm
sure it's gone up by now.
Yeah, it's definitely gone up. So
unless you see,
get them. Yeah. So we would get them to do that. And the hope was, can we sell $2,000 with the product? And then it really cost us $500 to get the content. We would then chop it up into 1 million pieces and repurpose it, running ads from their accounts as well as our own, and targeting their fans as well as our own, and using it in email everywhere else. That was really what we were doing back in the day. And we were trying to juice everything. I mean, I did a 6-figure deal with a member of the Kardashian family, and organically we made about $15K back. And I don't think even after $250,000 of ad spend, we got back our original investment. So it can be done well and it can be done poorly. And we thought we knew what we were doing and failed terribly. So somebody on that end, I'm really curious what Taylor or Barry, what you guys think about how best to use this content that you're getting, as well as the mindset of what your expectations are when you are acquiring it.
Yeah, Barry, go ahead. Take lead.
Oh, I was going to let you go ahead. Well,
no, best hat goes first.
All right. They're boogie boards, by the way. And it's from a brewery. I meant to call that out. One of the biggest things here I think about when I think about any of this whole world is feedback loops. The creators or influencers, and by the way, influencer versus creative, we can have that conversation also. But these people who are paying to make ads, they are not getting the feedback loop. They don't have a feedback loop except for getting paid more and getting paid again. So, but they don't know the things that you know or that I know about what is working as an ad or what is working in whatever. They it's a lot of those micro things that really matter, not some of these macro things. It's not just how many sales. It's like what parts of these videos are working and aren't, because a Kardashian name with, can get you a lot of eyeballs, but if the use of those eyeballs is poor, like we said earlier about the ranch water spot, if they're not talking about the product usefully or in selling it or in a compelling way or relatable way, then it's not worth anything, or it's worth less, I guess, maybe not worth anything. But so that's the biggest problem is having worked with creators and influencers is that they don't know what makes a good ad often, because they're not from this side of advertising. They're not from, it's not their muscle that they've built up. Well, the muscle they've built up is making influencer style content. And it's just not right for every brand. It's not right for every product. So that's one of the biggest challenges I see with this whole space. And I am very excited by that challenge. I love trying to solve it, to give creators more learnings from how we're using their ads and the guidance on like how to make it better. I think that's really important. So that to me is the biggest thing about getting value out of this. I would much rather roll the dice on a bunch of cheaper creators than go all in on one bigger influencer, because again, I want, there's a little bit of randomness in it. You don't know exactly what's going to hit, right? But also you don't know who or is going to take your feedback well or take your direction well and execute it in the way that relates, their audience will relate to. So I'll leave it there.
No, I love that. And there's two things I want to jump on here, and then Taylor jump in. First off, the randomness. It feels and again, just because Barry, you called it out, so I'm just going to highlight all of my failures today. This is going to be fun. I've hired Harmon Brothers.
Wow.
Excellent people. Phenomenal work. Unicorns in the space.
We need to talk more about this on a
7
separate
figures on the deal.
private thing, by the way.
Sure.
We need to, you and I need
Sure.
to talk about that. I've worked with them as well.
Lost her shirt. Not by anything they did wrong.
Right.
Lost her shirt. That Kardashian moment that I talked about. Fun fact, same day had the woman that worked at the front desk, 22-year-old college student, younger cousin of the brand manager, took a fun little video in the kitchen. That ad is still running. And it was a slightly out of focus little thing of her making a little smirk and just like,
yeah,
it was dumb. It was stupid. Crushed.
You know, it wasn't dumb. The fact that you decided to run it and someone approved that. That's what's not dumb.
Okay, well, to be fair, I got to approve it because I was in charge of everything, and I was just like, screw this, we're doing everything.
Right. But you see what I'm saying is like the fact that you had the autonomy to do that and you did it, everyone won there. So
yeah, no, everybody won. Yeah, I love that. And I was very blessed to be in a workspace where the boss would come in and literally sit down at my desk and like, I want to lose $100,000 this week to learn something.
Oh, God.
And it was amazing. And you know what? He's ridiculously successful because he was like, I want to learn. Boom, let's go waste $100,000.
It's a great mindset.
I could not be where I'm at today if I didn't have that guy just randomly popping in, and everybody in the office was scared of him too. He'd roll into the office and everybody would be like, and then like I'd be like, I'd walk up to the front and be like, hey man, so all this shit went wrong, but we're making a bunch of money over here. What are you doing today? And I would just like to drag him over. And we make a little war room, and we were loud. We'd be yelling at each other. The CEO would come in, the president would come in. We're screaming at each other in rooms. And at the end of the day, oh, hey, look, we hit 100K on Shopify by lunch. This is a good day. And like, it was a fun environment. Although I'm pretty sure people have post-traumatic stress from working alongside of us. All of that to be said, I think the randomness, it feels random, but there's also something about it is very hard to predict what people are going to respond to. And my point to that, why I love that and why I want to tee this up to Taylor, is I used other tools. It's funny, I saw Shaq do like hot tips for blah, blah, blah in 2022, and he tagged me in it, and he mentioned one of the tools that I love of a self-service platform to go in and just find people to do all of this stuff. And it might be 50, it might be a couple $100. Everybody knows Billo, but I'm not a very big fan of them. I actually like this other tool called Incense.pro. But the idea of volume of content, because what won't work is putting all of your eggs in one basket and praying for the best. What does work, and Taylor, I'm going to tee this up for you and you run with it, is having a good idea of what you want and then putting as many horses into the race with a strategy and then being able to execute on what you get and removing your ego. Because I guarantee if everybody in the room picks what they think is going to win, the youngest woman in the room with the best social media following is going to be right 80% of the time. And everybody over the age of 30 is wrong 100% of the time. It is stupid.
It depends on the audience, by the way, of your ads. If you have a product that works better for, 55-year-olds, I would.
Yeah, if we're talking about reverse mortgages, she might get it wrong. Fair enough.
Maybe she might.
So yeah, Taylor, what do you think about that?
I mean, what we're talking about is kind of like the birth story of Kinship. Previous to Kinship, I was at Common Thread Collective running paid and doing influencer partnerships where we were paying people constantly for posts and for content, and then using it. We would give them creative briefs and get them scripted talking points and scenes and try to put what we wanted on them to do, making it less organic, less authentic, and we would receive way less out of it for more money. And it's like, okay, there's a better way to do this, which leads to seeding. You know, you get more of it, more content, which is what everyone wants. Like we're talking about volume. It's more cost effective. And it's just biased. It's the best content out there. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're seeding, right? Like our process typically, like for Charlie, I'll just go over real quick. We're identifying and reaching out to 500 influencers in a given month at a minimum. You can expect with that no strings attached message that you send out, hey, Barry, we want to send this to you, no strings attached. A minimum of 100 would opt in to receive it. And then out of that, 30 influencers out of the 100 minimum end up posting of their own free will, free of cost, a diverse set of genuine product adopters posting authentic content 2 to 3 times on average. So 60 to 90 assets. They're all micro influencers. So when we follow up for usage rights, a lot of the time they're flattered. And so they grant it. And that's 60 to 90 assets right there. Like we're talking about volume. It's not filled with scripted talking points. It's not scripted with this one scene that we thought will work because it worked a month ago. It's testimonials, product reveals, before and afters, unboxings, you know, product reviews, comparisons, reactionals, all of the above. And then, as you guys know, throw all of that content at the top of the funnel in dynamic creative test, throw some cost caps on it. Only content that will get any spend is the one that wins. Yeah. And to let Facebook's machine learning system do the work from there. So it's a volume play, it's a cost-effective play, and it's the best content in the game. Very biased on my end, but there's no doubt about it in my mind as well.
No, I love that, because really, I mean, what we're talking about here, if I had to take 2 points out of it, number one is you are getting an extremely wide breadth of approach. And one of the things I always teach in the Facebook Ads MBA program is organize your ads by concept. Understand the marketing angles that you're bringing. And I always use the example, if you have a car dealership and you want to sell cars, great. But if every ad is selling a minivan, you're going to have a really hard time moving the sports car. So if you've got ads that are coming from people, and again, loose analogy, but you've got sedans and sports cars and minivans and just happy people driving and the whole selection of everything. If your ads are coming in like that with UGC, lowest cost, before and afters, features and benefits, testimonials, all of that type of stuff, you're going to appeal to different individuals. And really the biggest point in creative testing that I think so many people miss, and why I'm a big fan of broad, we won't go down that road. I've launched a thread on it. There's other things. I got a ton of that stuff. Don't even get into it. But one of the big things that I want to lean into here is if you want to scale your spend, you have to achieve one of two things. Either A, you improve your efficiency by making better and better sales pitches to sell a single product. Basically, you get better and better at selling the minivan. Therefore, you can sell more minivans, right? But ultimately, you're hamstrung by that. There's only so efficient you can get. So if you want to move, if you're selling 20 cars, you want to move 30, you might be able to get better at selling that minivan, and then you sell 20 minivans and 2 of something else. If you want to get to 100 cars, you're never going to do it by working 5 times harder. What you need to do is find different sales pitches that appeal to different types of customers, so that because every ad effectively appeals to a unique type of user, Facebook finds other people that are like that, not just Facebook, but also TikTok as well. Any optimized CPM platform, that's how they function. Love your post today, Barry. Loved it. Optimized CPM. There you go. If your agency doesn't know what they're talking about.
I liked your comment because, yeah, what is this? 2017?
Yeah, if your agency can't describe to you optimized CPM in 30 seconds, go find somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing.
Ridiculous.
Side note. So my point here being, when you're trying to scale spend, you can't do it by getting more and more efficient on one sales pitch. So if you find, because every ad has a different type of person that it appeals to, that ad will then go out and find other people that like that content, right? Because that's where I think, machine learning is one aspect of learning phase. There's another aspect of the business operations of any optimized CPM platform, and any organic effort like Instagram Reels or TikToks, where if it's appealing, it'll go find 1 million people that all look and feel the same way. Every ad effectively makes its own lookalike audience. It's an analogy, not a real thing. Don't look for it in your audience section. Don't come after me for the other people that were upset when I said that 6 months ago, and I'm still right.
I'm still upset by that one, but I agree with the premise. But
yeah, it's an analogy. But the point here being, if you get 30, 60, 90 pieces of content, you're likely going to get multiple iterations of multiple different types of sales pitches. And instead of trying to say, does this ad work? There's an old adage being a punk rocker, right? Which is when you're trying to sell merchandise, you don't say, do you want to buy this shirt? You have 3 of them up and you say, which one do you want to buy?
Right.
That's a very different objection to overcome. And when I was touring, the reason we could tour and have money for gas and food and like come home with cash in our pocket, being a not very good punk rock band, was because we figured out merchandising and we figured out the revenue. And so taking that lesson of an old school, just street guy, you know, touring, who also had a big drug problem and a giant bar tab. So like I had a lot bigger like money that I had to pull in. Understanding how to frame yourself up for success of all of these options, I think is magnificent. And that's one of the reasons that, you know, I'm super, super bullish on what you guys are doing and why, you know, we're signing some paperwork because